This episode of True Bloods is brought to you by Matchday Money. Show your team spirit right down to your fingertips with Matchday Money. Matchday Money are reusable press-on nails in the famous red and white that will stick through every high five, fist pump, and final siren applause.
Their nails take only 10 minutes to apply and are easy to remove post-match, or can keep them on for 2 weeks. You can choose.
Don't just wear your Swanee scarves, add Matchday Money to your matchday routine. And for the non-money wearers, it's a perfect gift for any sports mad person in your life.
Is this the most one-eyed podcast?
It's what we're here to do. There is only one side in this competition. It's game changing.
It's absolutely game-changing, Deeble.
Riddle me that.
Yeah, riddle me that, Deeble.
Do you remember? It's what we're here to
This is True Bloods, number one independent Sydney Swans fan podcast in the home studio today to review our victorious win back at Henson Park, our must-attend game at Vic Park against the Pies, and a very, very special interview with Mr. Scotty Gowans, Mr. GoSwans himself. I am joined, as always, by the man who is incredibly tired because we've been doing this for about 2 hours now. It's Alex Tully. Alex, how's it going?
Oh, I'm very tired. It's been a long couple of days, but simply must get to Victoria Park this Saturday. It is Saturday, 1:05 kickoff time. Get there at 12:30. Get there nice and early. I'm going to continually shout out this throughout the show, but we'll be taking over a hill. So get down there. Deb Malloy is going to be there. I'm going to be there. Zane Red and White may make an appearance as well, but there will be a True Bloods fan attendance, and I want to be louder and larger than Collingwood.
Yes, exactly right. And Deeves and Mads will be there too. Don't forget them. They do pull a crowd, so we have to mention them. But we were back at Henson Park on the weekend and it was so good, Alex. It was so good to be back. Oh my God. It was about 24 degrees. The sun was shining. I ran into a bunch of the faithfuls. So nice to see everyone. Sat with Saundo, Joshy Maxwell, and my good friend Sean, who is HPN Footy on Twitter. If you know your footies, your Twitter footies, your footy Twitters. Oh my God. It's been a long day, guys. But like we watched the game together. It was fantastic. So good to be back. That is exactly how Sydney footy should be. 4,500. It was the third highest attendance for the year, and that's including the opening game, which had they like really, really pumped up, and the Darwin game. So realistically, the first of just general.
First real one.
Yeah. And so just fantastic to see. Keep getting down to Henson Park because it's like that pretty much every week. And we didn't really get a game like that last year. So it's so nice to be back. But we also won, which was just as nice.
Four and zippy, some would call it. Four and zippy. Thank you to Deebs. That was his idea. So shout out to Deebs.
Deebs, he's a smart man. Some people don't give enough credit.
He's
but
a
we
linguist.
He's a linguist. But we are 4 and zippy. I can't believe it. I can believe it, but I also can't believe it. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I love this because I'll get the negative out of the way. I thought in parts this was our worst performance of the year.
Yeah.
And we still managed to walk away with a 25-point victory.
Yep.
On the back of Chloe Molloy only having 30 possessions, Zippy Fish having 11 possessions as well. So a quiet day from those two who'd come off 20 plus in every game so far this year. I think maybe Chloe had 14 and 4 in the first round. So a little bit different, but we're still getting the job done. We saw the best of Laura Gardner. We saw Montana Ham have a great day. And I thought it was Lucy McAvoy's best game of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Self-aware Lucy McAvoy knows that she needs to kick a goal. She can take a grab, might win Mark of the Week this week for Mark of the Year. But 0 goals, 7 for Paul Luce is the starting point. I just wanted to give her the quick drive-by on the way through. But we love you for that grab because I'm still winded from watching it.
Like, I called her Clutcher Boy at in the year preview, referring to her goal kicking. Hasn't been able to kick a goal. Look, we can pivot and say Clutcher Boy is her taking a grab because not only did she take that one mark, she took marks all over the park all day. She was everywhere, and that's what I was calling for in the start of the season: was get up defensive line, firmed up, and then get loose, just running around the park. And that's what she did, and it just showed how good she can be when she's not having to be stuck down there with Brenner.
Yeah,
And obviously, she's still a phenomenal defender, so I'm happy for her to go back there. But she's just such a versatile player.
I'm fine with her to miss the goals now, provided she's going to kick them in important games against North and Adelaide in the next few
Yeah,
weeks. So,
yeah,
XG, expected score, overtime always reverts back to the mean, as we saw this weekend. GWS, who are, X score piss hands throughout the year, winning games they didn't deserve to win, finally got beaten on the scoreboard when they should have won according to X score. So, it all reverts back to the mean in the end with those things. But the good thing is, we keep saying it. There's stuff to improve on, and we're unbeaten. And you look at
yeah,
sort of, North will be saying the same, Hawthorn will be saying the same, and the D's will be saying the same. The fact that we've set ourselves up with 4-0 with two winnable games that not winnable, I expect us to win both of them. If the Swans are 6-0 going to that Adelaide Crows game, that is a hell of a wave of momentum to go into a team that has been our bogey team in years past. Like they have
yeah.
slapped us around the football park. So lots to work on, but we're winning. And that's
We're winning.
winning cures all. But
Yeah.
there's little things, and you've got the next 2 weeks to improve them before we have our toughest 2 weeks of the year.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing as well. Thank God we didn't drop the Geelong game, which was our one that we thought might happen. And coming into the season, we probably thought Freo was going to be a harder game than it
Yes.
turned out to be. But we've put ourselves in a position where worst comes to worst, if we do drop those two games, which I don't think we will.
I think we'll drop.
As
I
in,
think we'll
as
drop
in
the North
Adelaide
game.
North.
Yeah.
We're not going to drop both of them, I don't think.
Yeah.
It doesn't
we need to be realistic. That
yeah. North is North.
North is North. North will start favourites. That'll be the 1 week. It'll be Swannies by how close.
Yeah. Well, we did that last year, and hey, that was a weird game last year. So
We weren't bad against them, but yeah, that's it. We can be 7-1, and
yeah.
you're just like, oh my god.
Yeah, and and even if we drop both, which again I don't think we will, it's still 6-2. That's still a fantastic position to put yourselves in when you've already played the two hardest teams in the competition. Like, we are just building such a fantastic season, and as you said, there are still things to improve upon. Yeah, I would love us to get out to a normal start. Can we stop dropping the first quarter?
Well, we actually led at quarter time, which was the funny thing. But
just right because Montana kicked that.
Yeah.
Point.
We kicked the first goal, but Freo then put 3 on the board very quickly. I'm like, oh, Freo are really up for this because we talked about it. They'd had 100 points put on them in consecutive weeks. And you saw it the day before with how Gold Coast responded by beating GWS. They'd had big scores put on them. And there was across the board effort. It's like, no, we need to show response. And Fremantle's a good team. And Mim Strom finally back to her best. And like, it's all well and good that we won, but watching Mim Strom play football is such a delight as a consumer. Yeah. And Kiara Bowser's in there. But the thing is with Freo, their best is very good and their worst is not great. They played 20 minutes of good footy, were quite average for the rest. And I think the Swans played, hold on, let me check my notes here. 46 seconds of good football for the day. We kicked 3 goals in 46 seconds in the third quarter. Other than that, we were just okay.
Okay, yeah. But, I mean, we did call it last week. We said the most interesting part of this game would be the rock battle, and it was. Mim Strom was fantastic. So good. But Ali, even Mim was probably better, but Ali went with her most of the day, and then she, I think, got stepped on in the end, so she ended up, I think, not finishing out the game. But, it was just a fantastic battle all day, and it showed that even when one area definitely has the leg up on us, we can still win a game, and it doesn't super affect our game at the end of the day. I thought Lexi was also fantastic against Mim.
Yes. Yeah, she was. She had a good day.
Oh, Lexi Hamilton, sorry. It's like she has always been my favorite pinch hitter. I have been saying this for the last 2 years. I think as well, seeing her come back into this side after being out for the first 3 games showed why she is that case. I do still think Caitlin Reid has a place in this team, no doubt about it, and she's going to be a phenomenal rock when the time comes. But Lexi still has a leg up on her. She's really good. She's really good.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's you have a look sort of across the board, and everyone doing their role, which is the main thing. But there's levels in which other players can go up. If this is our quiet Chloe game and this is our quiet Zippy game, and even Darcy Maloney, who was thereabouts, had 14 touches but didn't do a lot. If this is their quiet games, that's fantastic because it's not when we saw last year when players had their quiet games. They dropped off the face of the earth. If it's like that, that's acceptable because we're still going to
Hmm.
win most games of footy. You just need to make sure, we've started off so well. There's probably element of flatness in the performance given how hard we had to push against Geelong as well. Like, having back-to-back road games as well.
Yeah.
So to get to zip and four is a good sign. Obviously, we have to travel again this weekend, coming to Melbourne. Not as hard. Collingwood about the GWS and Gold Coast levels. So that's where we're going. They'll be a bit tougher because they're pretty stodgy defensively. But for the coaching staff, and you know, it's good that there's stuff to work on because Scotty mentions it. Like we've recorded this out of order, Faith. We've already chatted to Scotty.
It's completely out of order.
Yeah,
Like the worst possible way to do
we've
it. Hey.
reversed order. We went 3-2-1
Yeah.
in the segments,
Yeah.
but he's mentioned that the kicks to space that he's not that they've annoyed him, but there's that they can be improved on the entries
Yeah.
into forward 50. And throughout the afternoon, they weren't great entries into forward 50 like we saw when Chloe Molloy kicks goal of the year. That was from a missed pass from Montana Ham.
Yeah.
There was a couple of times where we took a few marks, like throughout the day as well. There wasn't. We said there was 4 marks inside 50 last week. Again, the week before. This week we had 7. So there's an improvement.
Hmm.
Kicked a similar sort of score as well. So we can get that up to 10 a game. You're probably going to kick 10 goals a game. And that's sort
Well,
of,
yes. They were saying on the coverage that we have the second best. I don't know if we still do because there was a few times we took marks in 50 and didn't pay
yeah.
off, but we had the best, second best percentage of taking it inside 50 and that turning into a score.
Yeah, well, we
So,
average 11 marks per inside 50 per game. And Freo, for example, they took one inside 50 mark all day, and they've only averaged 4 this season per game. So that shows you the difference, and that also shows in the score as well at the
yeah.
end.
Yeah. And I think as well, another area that the eye test on the day, maybe this is an on-ground thing versus an on TV thing. Our marking was atrocious around the ground. It could, but somehow we took the same amount of marks as Freo. It looked like Freo's hand couldn't drop the ball, and then I don't know. It was from like the halfway through the second quarter and then through the third. It felt like we couldn't take a mark. So that's
Hmm.
another thing that I feel like we can really improve on is the around not so much marking inside forward 50, but marking in the midfield. I think could be a lot better.
Yeah, and that's one of those things that you improve on. That's just sharpness and
Yeah,
concentration throughout the game. So I'm fine with that, but it's something that we need to work on because we also we're getting hands to the footy first. We're usually breaking even or winning clearances, but it's taking that first mark out of clearance that can
yeah,
really set up the way we want to play. We saw when we kicked those 3 goals, it's running in waves, it's the confidence, it's the handball, it's the run and carry. That first mark sets all of that up.
yeah.
And that's one of the things that will improve. Like we're 4 games into a season. You think with the men's, they're 6 weeks in, they should be fully sharp now. So
No,
in a shorter season, there's not much room for error. It's still a good position to be in.
yeah. Can we talk about tackling?
Yes, we
That's
can.
an area where I'm going, girls,
Poor
you
boy.
did fantastic. Because I think it was end up being 20-4 holding the balls in our
16,
favor.
16 to 4.
16-4. That's insane. Like, and that was accurate. I rewatched the game. There was maybe a couple that Freya probably could have got paid, but that was accurate. We took so many tackles, and it just showed how that is an area of the game we are wanting to really develop in. And I was very, very happy with that area of the
Yeah.
our game.
We laid 79 tackles, and the free kick count was a little bit silly.
Absurd.
It was 33 to 8. But when you're getting 16 holding the ball calls, so you take out that's another 17 free kicks alongside there. But I
The
I
thing is, Freo were very undisciplined.
yes.
I look, it probably was out of scale, but there was a lot of times where Freo were hitting us in the back,
But when
holding
you're
the
getting
man.
when you're getting first to the
Like,
ball as well, and you saw a couple of times there was a few free kicks that actually weren't paid as well. I actually but we had that game last year against Richmond where it was just umpired terribly across the board.
yeah,
I talked to a person that I know for Fremantle about the free kicks. Like, what did you think about the umpire? I'm like, didn't notice it. I'm like,
yeah, that's the thing.
you realize it was 33 to 8 free kicks. He's like, ah, okay.
Yeah,
So I didn't like as a Swans fan, obviously your mind's going to be a little bit warped, but if a Freo fan's not complaining about it too much, that's fair. Where we
yeah.
saw in the Brisbane Adelaide game, however, how disgusting that umpiring was late in the game.
I don't know. I
Shout
was
out to
at
Adelaide.
Henson Park, so
Adelaide got ripped off late in that game terribly. Yeah,
yeah.
cost them the
But
game, the
that so
umpiring.
the tackling was an area where I was incredibly happy with, and I would love to see that continue. Also, I think this was the first game we were even on clearances. I think we're getting to the point where we're going to see that flip to positive in our
Yeah.
direction because I think for the first three games we have lost the clearance battle. So that's another area that's already seeing improvement in. So I think like we every week have come in and gone like we can improve here, we can improve here. It feels like we're saying the same things over and over again. That's not necessarily the case. I can say for a fact we've improved our tackling and we've improved
Yes.
clearances and we've improved our kicking in front of goal except for Montana Ham. I'm just going to call her out. What the that that behind what even happened there?
It's yeah, she's just there's a lack of confidence, I think, on anything that's sort of a slight angle where she sort of overthinks it. Whereas on the run, she's completely fine. Like
Except
when
the one she kicked
Chloe
out of the out in the full.
when Chloe's kicked, but those will happen. Those are
Yeah.
because you're running on an angle, they'll skew off the
Yes.
side of the boot. That's fine. If she was running into an open goal and did that, I'd be like, what's going on? But you have a look in the second quarter when Chloe kicked that amazing goal off the ground. She has the shoe. She's got the leg to kick at
Yeah.
40 meters. Like we saw Sarah Grundon bomb one as well.
Hmm.
So she's got the leg. It's more just back yourself because
Hmm.
you've got it. And maybe there is a little bit of work that she needs to do with someone like a Logan McDonald because it's a set shot routine. You see that, I'm going to keep saying it all week where you see Chloe and Cynthia every week. They have their routine. Whereas Montana looks like she does it and she's got the tools to be the best player in the competition. But please come up with some sort of set shot routine.
I have to say, anytime when we're watching the game, it was with Joshy Maxwell and
Yeah.
Sondo, they were like, and no, they didn't do a set shot routine. They're like,
Yeah.
Alex is gonna be pissed. Alex is gonna be pissed. Okay, can't wait to hear about that this week. Your
Sarah Grundon
brand
has
is
one.
very well known. And she kicked 2 goals, so
Shout out to the faithful. Shout out for listening to
they,
me. But it is. It's like you look at it like Jack Bullers is a little bit weird. Has it. Kicks beautifully.
yeah.
Chloe kicks beautifully. Like Holly
Cynthia, she
Coop.
kicked 2, 3, but she still kicked beautifully on the day.
Also, Cynthia Hamilton must have like a deal somewhere written in her soul that when she kicks a goal on the run, she needs to sell candy
Yeah.
because that was amazing. Like, if you're an opposition player, she's gonna step to your right every time.
Yeah,
So if
she
you're
doesn't
standing
go
there at Cynthia
left.
Hamilton's, go to your right. Go to your right because she's gonna go to her
Stop giving
right
them
boot.
tips, Alex. Stop giving them tips.
It's happened 4 times. If I can see it, a professional athlete should see it.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, she had a fantastic day.
Yeah, she did.
I'm loving seeing her develop, and she got around the ground a bit more in this game as well, which was
Which I think she had a bit of the Sophia role as well, which
yeah,
like you sort of have a look at sort of time on ground as well. She was at 76% throughout the game.
yeah,
And I think she hasn't been known as that. She's more of a power athlete than she is an endurance athlete as well. So
yeah.
having a game like that on a warm day will really bring her fitness on for doing it again this week and hopefully and next week against the Giants because we'll talk about it. The injury report, Sophia Hurley more than likely out till the
Yeah.
Adelaide game.
Yeah, so we haven't recorded since we found out we recorded before we found out she was injured.
That was
So
a Monday
we
night recording.
yeah, so we didn't even know when we recorded the episode came out. Sorry, we knew by the time the episode came out, but we didn't know when we recorded. So we hadn't even had a chance to talk about Sophia being injured, which obviously sucks, but we did see a lot of structural changes. Obviously, Sarah Gronder came in. She was fantastic. She sort of stuck in the forward line, didn't really play the Sophia role, but it meant that someone like Chloe had more time on the ball, someone like
Yeah.
Holly Cooper had more time on the ball. Cindy Hamilton more time on the ball. We're seeing more people rotate through the middle than we normally would, and I think like it worked for the most part. And obviously, we'd love to see Soph back. Can't wait for her to be fit again, but it didn't feel like there was a huge detriment not having her there.
No, no, and that's the good thing about having depth, and that
Yeah,
we talked about with Scotty, where he does mention the depth. He's like, well, we can't afford injuries in certain places, but what they did in the off season has worked, and the
yeah.
proof is in the pudding.
There are a few players I wanted to shout out because there are a few players that we haven't really shouted out so far this year. I think Alice Mitchell, her goal line defense was
Oh,
phenomenal. I think she did, sorry, created 5 rush behinds just on her own fist. Like she was fantastic. Like
yeah,
I stopped. We probably lose this game if she wasn't on the goal line for so much of that game. I thought Lulu Pooler had a fantastic game. Her last quarter in particular. I think she took 5 tackles just in that quarter. Like,
mm,
fantastic to see. As I said, Sarah Brennan had a fantastic game. But yeah, there were just so many people around the ground doing their job, and that's exactly what we want to see.
Well, that's it. It's that one in all in aspect. Like I think this is Lulu's highest possession game of the year with 14 touches, but she was around there everywhere. Tanya
Yeah.
Kennedy was laying double tackles
Oh,
like there was no tomorrow. And then like we mentioned Luce as well, but she's just moving around the ground with such ease at the moment. And having a
yeah.
player like her with the freedom to do that, with the skill and the awareness that she has, like she pops up in spots like, oh, where the hell did Lucy come from? But she
Yeah.
reads the game so well. Like I thought it was Jazz Grierson's best game too. Like
Oh, yeah. Without a
she was
doubt.
great off halfback as well. Like it's so it's comforting
Hmm.
knowing that when you're watching on TV and the ball's gonna fly out the back, you're like, ah, well,
Jazz is there.
if Jazz isn't there, Alice is there, and if Alice isn't there, well, Ash is
Brand's
there as
there.
well.
And
Yeah,
Ash is
it's
there. Yeah.
so all the recruits that have come in, it's just like we'll say, you do your job. They're
Hmm.
all doing that, which is the main thing. So
Yeah.
like it's good to see. Like we haven't even mentioned Zippy Fish kicked her first goal in AFLW. Kicked her first goal. A
Yeah.
running banana. How else
Yeah.
would Zippy Fish kick her
Good
first goal in
first goal.
football?
So for the faithful and the people that were probably also at the game didn't realize also didn't realize this. We didn't know she dyed her hair pre-game, so none of us knew who took that goal until like five. There's like a lot of celebration and then they announce it. So I reckon it was probably 3 minutes of us going, "Was that Zippy? Who was that? Was that Sarah? Was that Zippy?" And when it got announced, we all obviously went crazy, like
Mm,
absolutely absurd. This Sydney, love Zippy, love her so much. Also walked past her dad a bunch of times. Man of the hour. That story,
yeah,
that letter he wrote to his daughter on Father's Day was so beautiful. We love you, Mr.
yeah,
Fish. You seem like a fantastic guy. Thank you for bringing your daughter over
yeah.
here.
Yeah,
Uh,
there's also a lovely article in the on Code Sports. Lockie McCurdy wrote it, obviously one of the reporters in Sydney for the AFL, writes on the
yeah.
Swans and the Giants. He did a lovely piece on Zippy when she was drafted.
Hmm.
Her dad's like, right, I'm coming to Sydney with you. He's lucky enough that he can work remotely and helping Zippy settle in, obviously. Hopefully, because obviously there's always a go home factor with players. Hopefully, this means that Zippy Fish will be a Swan for life as well,
I mean,
because
if
I
we could lock
think
that down.
everyone would love to see that. If we can give out players 10-year contracts, I think aside from obviously, Chloe and LG, but I
Yeah.
think Zippy would be the number one player that you want to lock down.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. But yeah, even though she had a quieter game, look, she still did everything
Yeah.
right. Like
Well, she
it
set
was
up a
just
couple of goals as well when she had the
yeah,
footy, but it was noticeable. Like she was playing on the wing, so it's a bit of a different role. And Scotty GoSwans, we didn't actually bring this up in the interview, but he has talked about in the media in his press conferences about rolling nine players through the midfield. He's like, I'd love to get Zippy in there, but he's like, I don't need to at the moment because I've got
yeah,
so many players running through there. In time, she will be a midfielder. Like
yeah.
that's an exciting thing to have. So this is we this is something that they could probably talk about through the week. It'll be interesting in selection. Do we run her off halfback at Victoria Park? Because I think running through the midfield there is important because if you get stuck out on those wings, the footy just stays out there. I think run and carry through the midfield. I expect to see her on halfback again this weekend,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
maybe Loose starts on a wing.
Yeah, I was enjoying Lucy on the wing, Lucy on one, Lulu on the other is kind of the setup I've been enjoying so far. So I think that's probably where we are going to see it, even though we've completely talked about this kind of stuff out of order. But that's kind of what you do when you get the head coach on. Now I have to
Yes.
ask about this thing that you put into the notes because I was not aware of this. Mikio was wrestling with Brett Kirk on the hill.
Yeah, so if you go and watch the replay on KO for all those at home who have KO, just hit play. Obviously they do the Welcome to Country and the celebration for the Indigenous round to kick off, but then they show Mickey O'Loughlin sitting down on the hill, and Brett Kirk all of a sudden comes up out of nowhere and basically puts him in a headlock and starts wrestling him. I was just like, that's fantastic. It was like I started laughing. I was like, I enjoyed it. They just had a wrestle on the hill because it was silly Sunday. Why not?
Yeah. Look, it's so funny as well because I obviously have been to, I think every Henson Park game. I think I've missed maybe two. And even in that early season before Brett Kirk even really had a role with the club, he would just be at games with his son. And you just
Yeah.
see him.
Yeah.
It's so fantastic. Like, and so yeah, I love that they're still friends and doing stupid shit like that. But we also haven't talked about which okay, Faithful, I there are two things you need to do this week. You need to get yourself to Victoria Park if you are from Victoria, and you need to go and vote for Chloe for Goal of the Year and Luce for Mark of the Year. Those are the two things you need to do this week. So go and vote for them now because I think entrance close on Thursday.
No idea.
Maybe, no
I've already
idea.
voted.
But me too. But I so I went back and looked at the video we took with the girls at the media day and remember
Yep.
how we asked them what we thought they were going to do? Laura said Chloe was going to take Mark of the Year,
Yeah.
and Ali said Lucy would take Goal of the Year. So they got them in the reverse order.
That's all right. They both get 50 grand for it, so it's all right. And
Yeah.
I think I do think that Chloe Molloy will owe 10% of her prize pot to Lulu Puller if she does win it, because
Yes.
Lulu could have very easily kicked that through and taken the goal and kicked her first goal for the Swans. But
Yeah.
being the team player that she is, just said, oh, it's going in. And Chloe
Yeah.
said this in her press conference today as well, where she was talked to by the media. She's like, no, Lulu said it was going in, so she just let it go. So, Chloe, my good close personal friend, Chloe Molloy, I'm putting it on you that you owe Lulu Puller 10% of your prize pool and maybe 20,000 of the 2 million frequent flyers you'll win.
I was gonna say, I think also some of that should go to Cynthia Hamilton because now she's robbed her of that award.
Well, then you have to give Keely Shirar some money
No,
too,
she doesn't
possibly.
play for the Swans.
Yeah, but Keely's goal was sick. Like
It was
I'm a
sick.
football lover, and she's a friend of the show on AFLW today, so I've got to
True.
shout out Keely. She's been on the show.
Yeah, but so go vote for them. That is the best thing about having the fan base, being the biggest fan base in the AFLW. We dominate those awards. We've won the last three of the four player MVP awards because the Swans faithful go and vote. So just go and vote because this is maybe we have about 5 years of being the biggest fan base in the league. So take the advantage while we can get it. Go vote. But I think that pretty much wraps up the
Yeah.
review. We're going to jump into the interview with Scotty Gowans now, and then obviously the preview will be after that. But as we said, get to Vic Park. Get to Vic Park. I will be getting drunk in Bondi at a Hens, but I'm very looking forward to finding you guys playing Where's Wally with the faithful on Sunday afternoon.
I will tell you in the matchday preview brought to you by Matchday Manny where we will be located on Saturday
Yes.
afternoon.
And we will also put stuff on socials as well. Like you'll see it. Don't worry, you won't miss it. Everyone will be there. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
This episode of True Bloods is brought to you by Matchday Money. Show your team spirit right down to your fingertips with Matchday Money. Matchday Money are reusable press-on nails in the famous red and white that will stick through every high five, fist pump, and final siren applause.
Their nails take only 10 minutes to apply and are easy to remove post-match, or can keep them on for 2 weeks. You can choose.
Don't just wear your Swanee scarves, add Matchday Money to your matchday routine. And for the non-money wearers, it's a perfect gift for any sports mad person in your life.
This is True Bloods and AFL Today. We do need to mention AFLW today as we are doing a bit of a crossover, but we are very proud to introduce the man who has taken the Sydney Swans to a 4-0 start for the first time in their AFLW history. Head coach Scott Gowans joins us. Hello, Scott.
How you going, guys? Pol and Alex.
Absolutely great. But, mate, we'll start off just straight away. Being 4-0, absolutely uncharted territory. And we can just go straight away. At the start of the year, you said straight away, we are talking finals. And I assume you couldn't be happy with how the season has started in a 12-game season, winning a third of your games already. It sets the team right up to play finals.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, and we were quite open with what we wanted to achieve. It's the statement was more around preparing for grand final eve and just being ready should it happen. And the mindset was always that that if you're going to be in the competition, let's strive for that, and then from there, obviously once you make a grand final, it's a bit of luck each way, but everything we've done, we've prepped that way. We've S&C have set up that way. We've booked things. We've talked about what we would do grand final eve, and I think what it has done, it's each step that we've gone through. So we call round 4 step 4, and we have a little goal each way, and firmly focused on that grand final eve, but know that it's just a step-by-step process.
So
I mean, it might be a bit hard to plan not knowing where the grand final is going to be, but hopefully it's at Henson Bar.
It's a mindset.
But it's so exciting to see. Obviously, Alex and I are huge Nuffies, but we kind of went into the season thinking we would probably be 4-0, potentially 3-1. We weren't sure about the Geelong game, but the fact we've been saying 4 and zippy fish, so 4 and zip. It's actually, yeah, it's good. We're running with it until we maybe drop one, which we hope we won't. But it is obviously a fantastic time at the club. But let's go back a little bit, back a few years. How did you kind of get approached by the Swans, and what was the sort of discussion making you the inaugural coach?
Yeah. So initially, there was a couple of jobs up for the go, and I think people forget that you don't just sort of walk into these jobs. So I've been knocked back, I think 7 times now. So
Wow.
Oh,
it's a lot before you like the North. After the North job, there were 3 jobs that I went for and came second in all 3. Um, and then there was another one which I didn't interview for, but I wanted to. And then what had happened during COVID is the Swans were quarantined at the Como in South Yarra, and I was at Collingwood as an assistant coach, and we had heard that they were looking to come into the competition, and I just thought to myself, well, I'm gonna not gonna die wondering. So made contact with Charlie Gardner, and we actually caught up for a legal walk around the Albert Park Lake, and we just chatted footy, and nothing really eventuated from there. I reckon it went. I reckon that was in about October, so I didn't interview for it until February the next year, and really the process was just that they sent me the job ad. I have a manager, which is James Pitcher. Pitch just said to me, "Look, they're going to interview you for the job, along with a few other people," which I did. Flew up, did the board interview, and it's a bit intimidating with John Longmire and Tom Harley sitting there, and but it was a really it was a tough interview actually, but it was a pretty one of those moments where I thought I'd stuffed up, to be honest, and at the same time I'd gone for another job as well, and I think I was in the running for that, and I didn't tell the Swans that at the time, so I didn't want to you don't want to sound like a bit of a deal,
Yeah.
but I knew it would come down to the crunch. And then, yeah, basically from there, I did the interview. I came home and said to my wife, Jodie, I think I mucked it up, because John Longmire got up and wanted to challenge me on how to defend. And so he's standing there, all 6'7" of him, and he's sort of challenged me on come forward pressure. So he's coming at me saying, "So you're telling me if I come forward at you, you're going to be able to chain the ball down the ground?" And I'm saying, "No, no, no. We're having this great discussion about defense." And then Tom Harley said, "Righto, you two sit down." And then I literally thought I've stuffed it up. Um, and but it was good because he was actually testing me, and which was great. And we often joke about it now, but it was just one of those moments. I went back to the hotel I was staying in that night, and yeah, and the call came through and said, "Look, you got the role." And then I had to ring the other
Wow.
club and tell them, "Well, yeah." So yeah, so but people do forget that, and I think that's part of the journey that a lot of the ex AFLW players will now be going on.
Hmm.
Um, and I've got Tanya Hetherington with me, and she's probably just about to go through the process of applying for senior jobs, and so she should. Um, but it's not just walk into jobs. There's a lot of knockbacks, and yeah, I think there's 7 that I went for that I didn't get. So yeah.
so after you had the interview, you thought you stuffed it up. That night they've called you and gone, no, 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 mate. You've got the job if you want it.
Yeah, and they told me it was a bit of a test, and I passed and answered the questions correctly in the scenario, and yeah, and told me I've got the job. So from that moment, it was like okay. It was when after post interview, I could tell I wanted the job. I think anyone who's met Tom Harley knows that when you meet the man and just have a conversation with him, he's
Yeah.
just good. And
Mm.
um, yeah, I thought I really want this job, and it's not that North Melbourne was bad. It was just that it's just different, and
Hmm.
um, I hadn't come across a culture like that. I was also round 4 of an AFLW season as a senior assistant at Collingwood, so there was that as well. And I was mindful of not leaving them in the lurch. So I told Jess Berger and Steve Simons, who was the coach at the time, up front that I was going for the Sydney job, and they gave me the full support. So I'm glad I did that. And then, yeah, then went back and told them and said, "Look, I'm happy to either finish the season or finish up." And I knew they would want me to finish up, because once you've committed to another job, obviously it's really difficult.
Yeah.
Um, so I did that, and then thought the season was going to start in October. So there was Kate Marnie, the GM of football, and myself at the top of the SCG. And then 2 weeks later, the call came in and said they're moving the season forward.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was going to be my follow-up of you've got the job in October, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, you've only got, 8 weeks to put together a list. good luck. So, like, obviously, we know where the list is now, but how hard was that in, a very short amount of time to put a list together and then get prepared for a season? Obviously, results weren't great in that first year,
Yeah.
but how hard was that first year?
It was tough. So there was Kate and myself, and we needed to put on, we worked out it was about 32 staff and 33 or 4, I can't remember. I think it was 34 players we were allowed to have at the first one. Um, so it was tough because to move people out of jobs that would be really ideal candidates, it was impossible. And so we really had to go with the philosophy. Our whole strategy was going to be all this planned out, typical Swans, really well structured program. And as they did with getting the license and all the work they did with the steering committee, but it just got thrown out. So we had a little whiteboard in our office, Kate and I, and we basically started in the corner and put, right, physio, doctor. Like we went through the whole thing, listed 34 numbers on the board and just put names that from my contacts everywhere. And I reckon we rang over 80 people, and most of them said, I just can't move my life. Because back then, obviously, the money wasn't what it is now. It's still
Yeah.
not great now, but to move interstate in 8 weeks, commit to an AFLW contract and move your job, your partner, and your dog up is
Oh,
a big ask.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of knockbacks, and that was really hard and disheartening because you're trying to explain what it could look like versus
Mm.
what it is. And yeah, it was a really, it's probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Wow.
And Kate and I were absolutely exhausted at the end of it.
Yeah, I imagine so. Just that's insane. And I have to say, even though we didn't win a game in that season, you managed to do a pretty good job with what you were given because we got close twice to winning those in that first season. And I don't think anyone would have expected that knowing what was going on behind the scenes. But
Yeah.
I guess jumping forward to the next season, we win the first game in that season. And what was that like? First win as a coach of the Swans was, I can't imagine that was were you expecting to win in the derby? How did it go?
Um, so the background to that story is probably the press conference. So once we got Chloe and Lucy in year 2, it was about how do we fast track everything? Because you just want everything now, and it's a natural thing of high performance sport. But we were able to, in that gap in between the years, come up with a strategy and knew that it would be a build, and that's fine. So then and I'm always really grateful, and I think it goes without saying that the players that did say yes took such a leap of faith. And, although they were a group of players that were still developing themselves, we expected them to come in and play against Brisbane and Adelaide's and all. Like
Yeah.
it was a really big ask, and I'll forever be grateful to them, the ones that said yes. And Paige Shepherd said yes in 24 hours. She was on a bus because the cutoff time on the Saturday just meant that she had to make a decision overnight. And I hadn't spoken to her for 3 years. So there was a lot of that going on. But once we got them up and going, the strategy really set that we needed to create what an environment looks like what a high performance environment looks like. And Kate Marnie is an expert at that because she's worked on the world stage and as a physio with the tennis circuit and Cricket Australia. And so she really had the worldly experience, and we had this plan that we would then fit the pieces in as we go over the next 2 or 3 seasons. And so the program was there, the strategy was there. It was just a matter of then implementing it. And first piece was finding the marquee player, which we couldn't land in year 1 for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Except for Brooke Lachlan. So Brooke Lachlan was the first one, and we'll always be grateful for Brooke saying yes, which opened the door for other players to start thinking more seriously. But then Chloe and Lucy came to the party and came on board, and that was probably the difference, not just from their on-field performance, but just they're both young and they're both ambitious and
Yeah.
very much ingrained at their clubs. And for them to make that leap of faith and trust us and what we were selling, if you like, because that's really what we're doing is selling an idea. It was really big for us. And yeah, that first win. So the idea was basically part of it was I needed to know who could perform under pressure. And I thought, well, what better way than to upset the Giants at a press conference um, and put pressure on ourselves to see how we coped. So there was enough pressure round one, but I put the pressure on, and Chloe said to me after, she said, "Are you sure about this?" I said, "Look," I said, "if we don't cope, at least we know now. We're not waiting till round four and then seeing who can and can't perform under pressure." So it obviously clearly did put a lot of pressure on. You can only get away with it once, and we did. And yeah, and they performed under pressure, and that really, to be honest with you, it actually had not much to do with the Giants. It was more about us and putting pressure on. But I just thought
Yeah.
that the derby was a good chance to do that and poke the bear. And it worked, and we got over the line just, which was an amazing relief, not because of what I said, but just more about the players coping under pressure.
Yeah.
And we were behind on the scoreboard. We came back and won it, and yeah, it was a great win.
I was going to ask, how were you feeling when you were 4 goals down halfway through the third quarter? Going, oh, the first time even across, because I know the GWS men's social team loved to poke at the Swans. This is the first time the Swans have ever poked back, and it's going to blow up.
I knew that. Good thing with North Sydney Oval is the exit's right next to the coach's box. I can leave the ground and wave goodbye to everybody.
Do with it tomorrow.
Yeah, no, it was a risk, and I knew that. And I just think that even though we were down on the scoreboard, even if we had a loss, to be honest, I would have still felt as though we coped under the pressure.
Okay.
And I learned so much about players on the list by having this almost like placing a finals expectation on them, if you like, without being in the finals. And it really drove the group. I remember pre-game, they were so switched on to just do the best they possibly could. And whether it was good enough, we didn't know. But we learned a lot about the group that night, and they really galvanized. And yeah, to come back and win is probably one of the best wins I've been involved in.
Well, you do speak of putting pressure on like a final. We obviously made the finals that year. Was that did you have any expectation of that going into the start of the season? And what was that final like for you? Because I was there and it was phenomenal.
Yeah, that's a good question. I internally, I thought we could come close. I probably didn't believe that we could, but as the season progressed, I thought we were in with a chance. And the difference that just having the core group of players not having to be the ones where Chloe and Lucy come in and just perform. Mon Ham's second year, Sophia Hurley's second year, it allowed us to almost take the pressure off the core group, but allow Chloe and Lucy to take the pressure and drive for the group. And they did it beautifully. And yeah, once we got to the final, I was really confident. Once we got to about the second last round, I can't remember. I think we played Collingwood in the second last round, ironically. And I just knew, I could tell that we were in with a shot.
Yeah.
I knew the fixture would be horrible because we had to travel the last bit of the season. We travelled a lot. Yeah, to Freo. The Freo game was so hot and intense. That was a great game of footy, but we won that. And I thought, remember the show, the only thing was how long we could hold the momentum. So it was a lot of talking about just, riding the wave. Like there was no point in like giving them an extra day off or anything like that. We were just up for the whole time, knowing that it might crash in a heap, and it really did against Adelaide. But it was a good ride.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think we can be forgiven for running headfirst into Adelaide in that second final. Like that's a very good Adelaide team that is still very good. But like obviously, because we can move on from that and sort of flow into last year, because it does also flow into this year. That condensed season that you had last year, all the injuries that you had last year, like you said, season one was tough, like getting everything off the ground. But having a game where there was that period around grand final of men's time last year, you played at Whitten Oval twice in 4 days. A couple of players got injured. How was that as far as preparing for a game, reviewing a game and going, oh shit, is everyone fit?
Yeah. Yeah, it was hard. It was really hard. We trained at Windy Hill during the week, and we only did like almost like a captain's run, if you like. and you could just tell how flat the players were. Like they were flat. And the Chloe going down the week before we played St Kilda was demoralising really for the group. Monham was just going through. Morph was injured. Sophia Hurley had an injury. Laura Gunn had her finger. There was so much going on that you could just tell the group. And I reckon we had 9 players travel back for work commitments. That didn't help. So, and study commitments. Excuse me. There was a lot going on, and yeah, it was a really tough little period. And then to lose that first one, like I reckon if we had won that first one,
Yeah.
we probably would have been okay. But losing the first one, thinking, "Oh my God, this is hard," and then the second one, like the Essendon one in particular, was really hard. And yeah, we just
We
didn't.
were there for both of them, and
Yeah,
the vibe was very different after the Essendon one.
that's what it is. The vibe was
Mm.
just like it
Yeah.
was. It was almost like, "Oh God, this is all hard,"
Yeah.
and it was hard. It was hard for the staff too. I'm fine because I was full time, but there was some of the part-time staff, like that was a horrible period in
Mm.
AFLW history, that little bit. It's
So,
probably worse than the
Yeah.
conferences.
and with that as well, I know it might not have been front of mind for anyone, because obviously the Friday night game against the Dogs, day before the men's grand final, and
Yeah.
then the boys just get absolutely slapped on the MCG. Like, I know it probably does, it is in front of mind, but is there a little bit of flatness just within the club as general going, oh, it happened again? You know, they were favourites and they got beaten, and then, oh God, we've got to play a game in 2 days, and everyone's sore after losing on the Friday night. Is
Yeah,
a bit of mental fatigue more than physical as well?
absolutely. The grand final, post grand final speech by Horse was just heartbreaking to watch. And um, yeah, you felt for the boys. We went to the function. We made the choice as a club that we've been all in together, so we're not going to separate now. And we went to the function. We had dinner, and then left and listened to the speech. And boy, that was hard. That was a hard period for the club. And at that time we didn't know there'd be change, but you just had the sense of uncertainty for the first time. I think I felt at the club, and you felt for the boys because you know how hard they worked. And it'd be different if they were getting by on talent alone, but they're just not like that. They're just the hard workers. And you think of people like Harry Cunningham, and God, they work their backside off, and just good people. They're a bunch of
Yeah.
good people. And yeah, so you really bought into what they were doing, and which we got the beneficiaries during the year of. Like we were able to share our stories and our journeys. But then, yeah, to have that probably flattened us right out. It was just a really tough year, 24.
So
Yeah.
safe to say you are canning the condensed fixture if you're in charge of the AFLW.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think if anyone wants to bring that back, they should not be in charge. Let's just put it that
Yeah,
way.
they'll never come
But
back, I'm sure.
yeah, no. But obviously we finished the season off quite well. We had that massive win against West Coast, but then we move into the off season and we had quite a substantial change in the off season, 9 new players. How much involvement do you have in those off season changes, and how did it all kind of play out?
Yeah, they were hard because they were mostly inaugural players that took the risk on
Yeah.
coming, which played a really big part on the decisions as well. But at the end of the day, we've stuck fat to the strategy that we built, and it was just undeniable the way that we needed to change the group to keep up with the growing competition's talent, which is a good thing. Um, yeah, it was really tough. So I have a fair say in it. We have a group, we have a list management group, and Phoebe Carter now heads that up, and then we have the EGM, Kate Marnie. Amanda Turner stepped in for Kate while she's on maternity leave, but Tanya Hetherington sits on that as well, and yeah, it gives us a really good piece of advice, and then Tom Harley oversees it as well. So we're able to make some really clear decisions. We really agonised over the tough decisions, but they were the right ones. And I think the only thing you can go on is that you wish everybody the best,
Yeah.
and you thank them for their services. You explain the decision, which I think we did quite well. Clearly, it's heartache with it, um, but yeah, there's no doubt. There is no doubt that the list has moved forward.
Mm.
What we're able to do, and yeah, it's just a crap part of the
The
job.
job. Yeah.
Yeah.
It does feel that there was nine new players coming into the team, but obviously the injury list this year only Sophia, who's played every game, is injured. Obviously, Maddie injured as well as Kiara. But how does it feel knowing that you've created sufficient depth, and it feels like every position that you sort of not replaced is the wrong word to say, but changed up. It feels like we're stronger across the board.
Yeah, we were really strategic, and I think after the sign and trade period in the draft, some people in the industry, I know because I heard people, were criticizing our changes. Um, but it was really almost like getting a board out, a coach's board, and going the magnet there. Like you almost picked a team, and then you had a backup for each role.
Yep.
We're not quite there yet. We're still got a couple of positions that we need to get coverage in. So we're fine at the moment. But if we get an injury or two, we might struggle again, and that needs another year of list build. But we won't. It'll never be the 9 again or anything nothing like it at all. But it's it was a really strategic, and we nailed it. We basically nailed the whole thing, including Zippy, really, really well. And that was, I had a part in that, obviously, but Phoebe Carter and Tanya do an amazing job with that.
So
Yeah.
on draft night, we do need to ask, you've just brought it up. When Zippy is sliding down the draft board, are you and the team and the list manager team just sitting there just going, yes, it's going to happen, it's going to happen? Because I thought she was going to go at pick 3. Obviously, Ash and Havana were going to go the top 2. And I was like, oh, we'll get Molly O'Hare. Everything will be great. It's fine. But when she's still there and is it just like, just get the pick in as quickly as possible so it happens? Just try not to jinx it.
I've never seen Phoebe's finger move quicker because it was unbelievable. We couldn't believe it. And in our rankings, we had the top 2. We had Zippy like so close behind, and the separation was more based on position and need. And it would have been interesting had one of the top 2 slid to choose between Zippy and one of them. That would have been an interesting thing, because that would have been a talent decision over positional, which we haven't had to make yet. But yeah, it was we couldn't believe it. She was a no-brainer. That's just ridiculous to be. I think of it now and I actually shake my head. And obviously the clubs that passed on her did for whatever reason, and maybe it's because they needed to fill needs. That's legitimate. But I've never seen a kid pick up a ball under pressure, make a great decision, and hit a target as consistently as she does. It's unbelievable.
Journalist friend of mine, 2 of them, Nick Rin and Eliza Riley, both from WA. As soon as got drafted, I got messages going, "You've just picked up the next superstar of AFLW." I'm like, "Oh, sick!"
Nice.
Like I was excited, but that they were so keen on her was just, as a Swans fan, I'm like, "This is great." And me, as my role in media, is like, how do I not go over the top with this? But her performances, it's impossible not to.
No, and she's got the name to suit. Like she's got the whole thing going. And the telling thing for me was that Hansen on the weekend, the announcers read out the names of the players one by one. There's a roar after each player, and read out 23 and Zippy Fish, and the crowd erupted. And Zippy was next to me. She goes, "That's all right, isn't it?" And I said, "Yeah, it's pretty good."
Well, I had bought some badges at the game on the weekend, and I bought the badges of all the girls who'd been on the podcast before. And even the guy in the booth was like, "You don't want Zippy Fish? Everyone's been buying Zippy's badge today." So she's just taken the city by storm. It's actually phenomenal to see. But we did bring in 8 other new players this year, how has it gone? Like, obviously they fit in seamlessly, and you wouldn't know if you're not following the club very closely. But did you find it difficult to blend that in, or has it been easier with such a big chunk of players coming in, or is it easier when you have a few, like 2 or 3 join the club?
Good question. I would say it may be easier with a few less.
Yeah.
The thing was we got the leaders buy-in, so Chloe and Lucy were aware of what we were going to do. We kept them in, and they, right from the word go, just as soon as we basically chose someone and they said yes, they were straight onto it, as was Isaac Heaney and Tom Harley, and Horse played a big part in that as well. They all straight away were on it. What do you need? What can we do? it's actually astonishing. So the the difference I've found in the four clubs I've been at is Sydney just do stuff well, and like lifelong supporters like yourselves, and you're so lucky because I don't
Yeah.
think you realize how fortunate you are to have a club like that that's so well run, um, and it's seamless. And I don't know if there's any other club that does the all the families together, men's and female families together with both PDMs, both programs on the same day. I don't think there's many clubs that do that. And that was a huge part of it because then you've now got integration automatically between parents, for instance, and things like that. It's really good.
So with that, because it's from the outside looking in, I live in Melbourne, so I don't get as much access to Sydney. I used to live there as what I would love, but it looks from outside looking in that this is like there's a lot of clubs that say they're one club mentality, but when you read a McCurdy article where Ali Morph, like Brodie Grundy was my favorite footballer, and now I'm getting Ruckcraft tips for them. Or when I was in Sydney a few weeks ago at the media day, you see players talking to each other and pointing out little things in the training ground on the indoors there. Is that the little things that sort of a lot of people sort of won't notice or talk about? Is maybe it's Callum Mills giving leadership advice or Errol noticing a kicking technique or something like that? As it seems like there's a like we saw Justin McInerney at the Geelong game, for example. Like there is that support from the men's program.
Yeah, absolutely. And it goes right through the VFL program. So the boys that weren't playing seniors are also in that. And there's a group of them that go out for coffees, and it's not orchestrated. It's just they hang out, and that's awesome. And there's like the banter is the thing I love. And Lizard will walk past, and there's five girls just absolutely giving it to him about his defending. So there's stuff like that. Like um, it's so organic that it actually you laugh at it because what they say is really funny and he gets embarrassed, but it's also part of it that you just think that is true integration when it's not planned in a calendar, it just happens
Yeah.
and they're comfortable enough to do it. Vice versa, though, the boys do give it back pretty well.
I would hope so.
Yeah, absolutely they do, and that's also really cool because that means that there's a level of respect and in what they do versus what we do, and vice versa. So it's really cool.
Yeah, it's so lovely to hear how that what looks like from the outside is actually how it reflects on the field and just in HQ. And I think that was such a big thing of when because I am obviously a lifelong Swan supporter and I was quite not upset but just confused why it took us so long to even bid to get a W team. And so to know now it was because we were setting up all that stuff in the background and to come to fruition is just such a lovely aspect and it makes me so much prouder to be a part of this club. But just talking about a few tactical things, I would love to get your opinion on 18 players versus 18 players as opposed to 16 players versus 16 players. And do you see a transition happening? And is that something that you as a coach would like to see in the future?
Yeah, so I've got no idea what Alex thinks, but I'll give you my opinion. Um, so I'm a big believer that 18 would be better, um, because what it will do is people say 18 on the field each side will make it more congested. I actually believe the opposite. The girls just don't kick the ball so far. So if you've got extra players to move the ball, it makes sense they will move the ball more and scores will go up. Less stoppages, better viewing, the whole thing. And it also gives, I think we're at the point where the talent base is there that if you look particularly now at the players that miss out on the draft and then go and have really good careers at local footy, it's amazing. Like it's only just happened in the last few years because they've all come through Auskick.
Yep.
And in Sydney, even in Sydney now with the GWS and the Sydney academies, there's players that just don't get drafted that are now flooding VFLW and Sandful and awful teams. And unfortunately, not Sydney Premier teams, which is the next thing that we need to get right in New South Wales to keep them home. But there's a heap of work now being done in that area, and that isn't too far away. I reckon that's only probably 1 to 2 years away from changing, which is going to be great. But yeah, there's so much talent spilling out that yeah, it's really important that we're able to have that conversation with the AFL and say, I think we're ready. And the 18 aside will lift the game to a whole new standard.
100%.
I Couldn't agree more because how I look at it is the same as you. I don't think it will increase congestion. Obviously, there'll be times where you try to shut games down, but it's,
Yeah.
Ali taps it down to Laura, who handballs it off to Sophia. Quick kick out of clearance. If Chloe's on her own on the forward 50, turns around, there's no one there. Well, on an 18 versus 18, maybe Holly Cooper and someone else are in the forward 50, and the game can continue to flow rather than you're waiting for the next option. Or it's been a bugbear of mine, and I'm sure it's probably annoyed you a lot this year, is the kicks to open space in the forward line, just hoping people flood back.
Correct, and that would halt that. And that's a classic example. So the D50, defensive 50 transition out. At the moment, we have to bring all the forwards up the ground past the centre circle to get connection to move the ball. So then you've either got to go slow, or at some point in the chain, you've got to go slow, or a stoppage occurs so you can reset the field, or you kick over the top. Whereas with 18 aside, you would actually be able to hold forwards further deep, so you get depth of field, width of field, the ball moves quicker, and it pings up and down.
And with that, you have been very outspoken just throughout your career at the Swans and before that, where you feel like you have a responsibility as a coach to play a very attractive brand of football for people who haven't seen W before. They sit down, they watch it for the first time, and they go, "Oh wow, the Swans are exciting to watch." So they'll watch again and again, and it's reflected with the Swans crowd numbers. Is how like you're putting that pressure on yourself and your team, but is there going to be a game one day where you're like, "Nah, don't care, shutting this down. We're in front. I want the win."
North.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, three people tagging Jazz Garner. Thank you.
Yeah. Nah, look, I do believe that, and it's I'm thankful of I'm actually thankful of Neil Craig. Neil Craig, when I was at Carlton in year one, I don't mind saying I went for the Bulldogs job when Paul Groves got the job, and I had like 4 interviews for the job. And he got it and he did a great job, obviously won a premiership. Well done. But part of the process, I came back to Carlton, I was the assistant there, and Damien Keeping was head coach. Neil Craig said, "How'd you go at the interview?" So I told him I was going for it. And I said, "Oh, no, good." He said, "Why not?" And I said, "Actually, I don't know." He said, "Well, who interviewed you?" And I said, "Oh, Chris Grant." And he said, "Well, did you get feedback?" And I said, "Well, he just said there was just a better candidate that they wanted to go with." He said, "No, bring him back." So I did, and we had this great conversation. So I found out that there was a connection with Paul Groves got the job on his credit, but there was an existing relationship there previously with Luke Beveridge, and the football industry is completely like that. Where if you just get a slight leg up, it just maybe helps you get over the line. Great, no problem at all. But it came back. Neil Craig said, "See, now you said so." He said, "I want to ask you a question. Where do you see this game in 20 years' time?" I said, "I don't know." I said, "Well, I haven't really thought about it that deep." And we went from that 25,000 crowd round one. I think we had 6.5 against GWS in round 3 in 2017 at Icon. So the crowd numbers were okay. And he said, "How many of these people do you think will hold on to the game?" And what he was referring to was the standard of the football versus the traditional football goer, if you like. And he said it won't work. He just couldn't see it working with the way the teams were playing, and versus trying to attract a whole new audience, and maybe marketing a little bit different. And he went right into all this, but it got me thinking. I actually thought to myself, he's actually got a great point. So what would an attractive brand of footy look like? And so I got the job at North the next year in 2018, and they came in the competition in 2019. So I had a whole winter at Melbourne Uni, coaching Melbourne Uni, putting all the team together. And I decided that if I wanted to watch, if I'm a traditionalist, so I barracked for St Kilda and went to most St Kilda games, and I would want to see a team that would take the game on. And no matter what the scoreboard said, they just kept trying to attack. And I thought if you could get a good full forward that could kick a few goals, such as Tony Lockett was the back of my head. That was the way I was thinking. A great midfielder, Robert Harvey. So I was trying to equate what I'd want to see as a football lover, and put it together, and then got North. And that's basically how the North list came about. And conversely how the Sydney list and the blueprint, if you like, has come about. So, yeah, I think there will be a time. There's no doubt there'll be a time where we're in a 2-point final or something like that, and I will 100% shut the game down as best. I'm I'm just going to say it now, right? But as a general philosophy, 99% of the time, my great belief is take the game on, and in 20 years' time from now, I want to be able to look back and say, geez, I'm so glad that I at least
Had an
paid
impact.
in trying to promote that sort of footy.
Well, it's
6
clearly
Brenna
working.
Tarrants, 6 Tanya Kennedys.
Yeah. 6 Chloe Molloys.
Oh yeah, it's clearly worked so far this year. It's such exciting footy to watch, and I think that's what a lot of people are realizing that aren't Swans fans is that we do play the most fun football, and that's always a good thing to rub salt in the wound to everyone else that doesn't watch the W. So,
Yeah.
but we do have two kind of silly questions just to wrap up.
Yeah,
But
no worries.
on this podcast, we do refer to you as Scotty GoSwans. Because I don't know if you know, but your name is actually an acronym for Go Swans.
I do know they media warned me about that today.
I was the one that figured it out, so I take full credit for it.
Well done, Polly. Yeah, it's good.
But do you think that was an omen that you were going to end up at the Swans?
Yeah, it might have actually been you that I saw post it, and
Probably.
I didn't realize it until I got the job, and there was a hashtag, and then I actually think it might have been you, and I saw it and I thought, actually, isn't that weird? That's like that do sort of stuff going on.
And I haven't seen Harles for a while, but I have been meaning to ask him if he had that in the back of his head when he
Maybe.
offered you the job.
That'd be deep thinking, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And I'll ask one more before my completely silly one. But this weekend, it is the only game that is confirmed for this season that the Swans will play in the city of Melbourne. So how important is it for Swans fans far and wide in Melbourne to get to Vic Park Saturday, 1 o'clock? It's only meant to be cloudy and 18 degrees, but to create a big atmosphere, because we did travel in force down to Geelong, but Victoria Park next to the train station and all the pubs, it's a no-brainer.
Absolutely, and you can get there a little bit early and get yourself a coffee, and then you can games at 1, so you can then get a beer after that and make a day of it. And look, Vic Park is a great ground to watch footy from. It's a easy ground to get to, and I hope we can pack it out. I'd love to have more support than Collingwood supporters.
Easy.
That'd be good. Yeah, done.
They don't have many, so.
But I do think it's important in general. We're in a phase now where the AFL have put all these I suppose benchmarks and that they want us to hit, and one of them is crowd attendance. So we've got to. I don't think people realise that if you half and half make a decision, will I go, won't I go? If you could just make it to help support the girls and go to the game and just support them with feet on the ground.
Even go and just scan your ticket and then leave. You don't have to.
Yeah, exactly. Just come and scan in and then go.
And if you have something else to do, you can go. Just make sure you scan your ticket.
That's what I do at Every Time Fitness. I drive down, just scan in, just so I lose my membership.
Now, the most important question I'm going to ask the whole time is, I haven't been to a game at Henson yet. I've played footy there when I played for Sydney Uni, but the garlic sauce and kebab at Henson Park. My new favourite show from Swans TV that I need them to create is Scotty and Lockie's food recommendations.
Yeah,
when I come for the Pride game against Carlton later this year, what are you recommending me to eat?
Well, I would go the kebab and the garlic sauce. It wasn't there on the weekend, which I was absolutely shattered. But I have got a new one. The Goswans ban is unbelievable. And if you can cope with the line, because it is a big line, which they promise they're going to fix, the Goswans is amazing. So get your teeth into that.
Done.
Are we forcing Alex to get there really early? I was there very early and had a cold pie, so I won't be going back to the pies.
Can't wait to get to
I love
Henson.
food.
But Scotty, thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it.
All
Thank you
right.
so much for giving us all your wisdom and getting us to 4 and zip. It's been crazy, and we can't wait to ride this out and see you again during finals.
No worries. Thanks, Alex. Thanks, Polly.
Thanks, Scotty.
Welcome back to the Matchday Money preview. Get over to matchdaymoney.com and use code TrueBloods10 for 10% off everything on their website, and that's applied at checkout. I now have my nails, and they look fantastic, and I wore them to the game on the weekend. So I would highly, highly recommend them. And I'm not even a real nail person, and they were so easy to use. So I would use the code, get them before the code runs out. Simply must. But Alex, huge, huge game coming up on the weekend. Huge, massive.
Yeah.
Everyone, if you live in Victoria, I expect to see photos of you at Victoria Park because I cannot be there. So please, 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 please get down to Victoria Park to cheer on our girls as we take on the Pies.
It is our one game in the city of Melbourne until we play in the finals. And ideally, we're playing in a grand final against North Melbourne at Marble Stadium. But it is our one guaranteed game in the city of Melbourne. We will be taking over a portion of the hill at Victoria Park. So if you're in the Cheer Squad and with families, we're actually going to go set up on the opposite flank. So if you're watching the TV, we will be to the left of screen at the far point of the forward 50 if you're watching TV. So we will be over there. That will be the True Bloods area because we want to create our own atmosphere like we did last year at Whitten Oval. And we don't want to disrupt the families that are having their own day because, well, we get a bit loud and rambunctious at times. It is in our
As the family do too.
Exactly. So we'll let the cheer squad and the families do their own things. Look, Deb, if you want to come and join us when the Swans are kicking to the left of screen, you are more than welcome to come hang with us as well. Hopefully, I'm wearing my Chloe Molloy T-shirt.
I feel like I'm hoping Mads gives it to Deebs so that it gets to you because I think that's the only way it's getting to you at this point.
I have no idea how it's getting to me, and we'll still be in the same place. But yes, if you are in Melbourne and you are able to get there, 105 this weekend. Tickets are from $15. I'm pretty sure kids get in for free if you have kids. But get down. The game is over in 2 hours. That's the best thing. You'll be out of there by 3:15. You can hang around after because the players usually sign some signatures, take some photos and whatever. So it's a great day out. And there's the train station next door. There's breweries across the road. I had my engagement party up the road. It's a great spot, Victoria Park. Simply must get down.
Simply must get down. If you remember about this, or not quite this time last year, but if you saw the scenes of us when we played the Western Bulldogs at Whitten Oval the day before the grand final, that is the vibe we are trying to cultivate again this time. And it's going to be even better because we're going to win.
And it's a
We're going to win
Saturday
this
afternoon.
game, and it's a Saturday afternoon. And it's going to be, I think last time I checked, it was like 18 degrees and cloudy in Melbourne. So not even bad conditions.
It might get windy because it's an open space, but you know what? That's fine. It's going to be great. We'll be decked out in red and white. We'll be cheering the girls on, and we can go straight into it because we are taking on the Pies at their traditional home deck. And nothing would please me more as a Sydney Swans fan and as a human in general to see Collingwood go 1-4 and us to go 5-0.
I mean, it doesn't really get better than that, to be frank. Like, and it's a very, very good opportunity for us to go 5-0. This has been set up perfectly for us. I can't believe it. I will say, I think Collingwood have been better than we expected them to be. It's still not going to be like a tick straight away. This is us winning. We should win. We definitely are the better team, but they have performed better than I personally expected them to going into this year.
Yeah, they have. They had a really bad injury year last year that we talked about how the Swans had a really bad injury year as well, but Collingwood's was worse. They were getting top-up players in like round 2. So everything that went wrong for them could have gone wrong. So you just have a look at that. Like they still don't have a forward line. Their biggest score this year is 33 points, which they've kicked twice. So they're doing a lot of their work defensively. They kept Carlton to 45 points. They kept the D's to 37. And North, I think it was their lowest score of the year last week. North, they kicked 58. But in Melbourne last Sunday, it was so windy, it wasn't funny. The weather was really weird. But Collingwood's game is built on their defense. They haven't been blown out yet. 45 points by North Melbourne, and it's the best team of the competition, is their worst result. Other than that, they've been beaten by 4 points by the D's, who are unbeaten as well, and Carlton beat them by 4 goals in round 1, and I think they were better prepared, Carlton were, that is, in round 1. So this is going to be a slog. This will be similar in the first half to the Fremantle game, and as talked about with Scotty, must get off to a good start because the slow starts will hurt us eventually.
Yeah, for sure. I actually wrote that down. I think the best game for us to look at coming into this for sort of testers of where we're at is how they went against Melbourne. Because Melbourne, I would say at this point, apart from they having a few more injuries than us, we're pretty on par, like obviously on the ladder as well. They had a big blowout, so they are above us. But I expect us to not be in the position where we might draw with Collingwood, but that is the kind of game I expect Collingwood to play, whereas they're going to really shut down our forward. So it's going to be a huge day for our forward line.
I'm trying to find the injury list, and I can't really find it right now. I'm really struggling here. Injury update. Trying to navigate football website. So, no, that's from last week. So that's really
Yeah, I
helpful.
don't think the Pies have uploaded theirs yet.
No, they haven't.
But
So with
straight
that from
away,
last week, yeah, Ruby Schleichler played last week. The big one for them is Mateta Breed is out for the season, and
yeah,
she's such a good player in their forward line. So yeah, they're going to be at their full strength, which is what they were last week. It's across the park, we're better than them. Ali will have a tough day in the ruck because Sabrina Frederick is a very good ruck. And Imogen
Yes.
Barnett played very well last week against North too. So we'll have a tough day there. But you look at the midfield, like you have a look across them. Tani White had a big day last week, getting a lot of the footy. Britt Benici and Sarah Rowe pick up the footy. But Britt Benici has worse disposal efficiency than anyone I've ever seen in the league. She gets a lot of it, but
Yeah.
she just wastes it.
And as soon as TK goes to her, it's going to be
I wouldn't even
game
tag
over.
her.
No?
I would not. I'd have a look at Tani White because she gained
Okay.
about 600 meters last week
Yeah.
with a lot of run and carry. Took 10 marks, so she'd be the one you'd look at. I wouldn't worry about Britt Benici. We saw it last year when we played them. She got a lot of the footy and just turned it over all night. So I'm not
Yeah.
super concerned about her.
It is a very different, we're going to keep saying this all year, but it is a very different team from when we played them last. We also haven't played at Vic Park since our very first season,
Okay.
which is kind of crazy, which means Chloe's first time back at her old home deck as a Swan, which is crazy considering how much of a Swan she is now. So there isn't really a bunch to go off going into this game. We haven't really played under these conditions before. Obviously, that first season, we basically just write it off. You don't take anything away from that season. Our team is barely even recognizable from then anymore. But when we played them last year, obviously similar sort of thing. Everyone was out. We didn't have Ali, and Lexi actually did a pretty good job on Sabrina Fredericks when we
Yeah.
played against them last year. So I would be expecting to see Lexi stay in the team. I thought she did a pretty good job on the weekend, so don't think she's going to get dropped. I think we were going to see Ali and Lexi go through the ruck quite a bit. And as we keep saying, we have 9 new players in the team. It's a 10-person difference. It might even be. It's even
It's
more.
8
really.
players who played in this game last year and round 1 aren't playing this weekend, have either
Yeah.
been retired, delisted, or aren't in the team at the moment. So
The game I'm thinking of was 2 years ago.
Yeah, so yeah,
that's
'cause-
deeply concerned. I was thinking about the one at Heads Apart.
last year, round 1, Ali Morfitt did play, but Sabrina
Yes.
Frederick did have a big night. She had 25 hitouts. Britt Benici led the
that
disposals
was
with
Also,
24.
when Lexi was suspended, and we are fairly certain that Ali was still injured at that point.
Well,
and
she
only
was.
played 'cause
She
she
had
had to.
54% game time, so that
Yeah.
tells you that she was a bit injured as well. Having a look at that night, like one of our biggest clearance winners, Eliza Vale had 5 clearances on the night. That just shows you how we were with Lawrence Getty getting 3 as well. So like we won quite easily in the end, but we are a different team, and they're sort of similar because their top 4 ball getters last year are all playing this weekend. Benici,
Yeah.
Frederick, Rowe, and Schleichler. So, you know, people will be like, oh, Ash Sentra. Ash Sentra's had 25 disposals this year. I'm not concerned about Ash Sentra. She'll do something cool. She's a great footballer to watch. She is full of talent. We have the better draftee right now in Zippy Fish.
That's the thing. I think being Swans fans, we get so what's the word I'm looking for? Like,
Parochial.
yeah, or we're just like, well, we have a really good draftee, so we assume everyone's like that, But realistically, Acentra is the makings of a first-year player. She is in the same position you should be as a first-year player. She's not playing badly. She's not shooting the lights out. And
When
even though
she's getting
number
the
one draft
footy,
pick,
she's doing something with it,
Yeah.
but she's not like. In fairness, Zippy was poor last week. She only had 11 touches and kicked the 1 goal, but she wasn't
wasn't
sided.
the zippy that we
Yeah.
know and come to know and love. Like,
The boomer in me is like, she changed her hairstyle. That's why she didn't touch the footy. It's such a boomer take.
it was, well, I don't
Blame it
know if
on
we
me.
should say, but we're recording this out of order this week, so we obviously haven't talked about it yet. But we didn't know Zippy kicked that goal until after it was announced because we didn't know she changed her hair. But anyway, that's a story. for
Those
the-
watching on TV did, thankfully.
Yeah, well, yes. But yeah, so Acentra is going to be an amazing footballer. I have no doubt about it. She was the number 1 draft pick.
Yeah.
But she is not playing like a 3 year in player, a third year player is what I'm trying to say. But Zippy is. So we're going looking at Zippy
Yeah.
going, oh my God, this is how all first year players are supposed to be. No.
Mm.
You barely ever see a first year player come into the game like we've seen Zippy. So yeah, Ash, don't even worry about putting anyone on her. She'll do something crazy, but for the most part, we won't really see her.
So we have a look at last week's team. What are we thinking changes wise this week? Obviously, with the injury report, Sophia's not going to be back probably till the Adelaide game, and Kiara Hilly is recovering from concussion. Other than that, we are fully fit.
Oh, and obviously we didn't talk about it last week, but Maddie Collier did do her ankle and won't be available for the rest of the season,
Which sucks.
And it's really sad to see. And I saw her getting around in a moon boot at the game on the weekend.
Oh,
but
no. She's such a lovely person too.
Yeah.
She's been hit by the injury bug the last couple of years, and it sucks to see. It's just unfortunate with small seasons. It's what happens. You miss 6 weeks, you're basically cooked for the year. But with some changes, what do you think? Because I'll ask you first, because I'm pretty strong on what I think will happen. What do you think will happen this week?
my conspiracy theory brain is going, Beck's getting dropped. Beck is not traveling for whatever reason. She's going to kick her 50th goal against the Giants, and it's going to be incredible. That's going to really add fuel to my Giants hating fire. And I think we probably see Amelia Martin come back in, would be my guess. We do need to really firm up that forward line. That's my biggest concern. I still think Beck has it in her. I don't know why she's been underperforming, but like I think her hands being in the forward 50 does help, but also I don't know.
Yeah, I've actually got the replay on 2-speed on in the background right now. So Montana Ham's just about to miss that set shot from about 15 meters out. No, it's the
not the one out of the full.
So I think I agree. I think Beck will be dropped, unfortunately, and I think I wouldn't even be shocked if Caitlin Reid comes in and we go really tall, because it's just something. It's not 3 ruck. It's more something a little bit different, because obviously Frederick's really good in the ruck as well. So it's maybe just not giving Ali a chop out. It's more just making sure that maybe we're sitting Lexi forward and she stays there and she does all the rucking sort of in the forward 50 to 60 meters. And you have Caitlin just coming on, playing 40-50% of game time when Ali sort of rolls off, and it's Ali and Lexi, play 70-80%. I don't know how the math of that works, but that's sort of what I'm thinking, because if it becomes a big windy day and we have some forwards that can get some talls that can get the ball to the ground, we've seen the work that Holly Cooper does around the footy. Sarah Grundon was good last week. Darcy Maloney can get to the foot of it. Chloe can do anything. And Lucy, God bless her for being so self-aware, knowing that she can take a grab but can't kick a goal at the moment. God bless her. It'll eventually happen. And even Zippy around there as well, as we saw with her goal, where she crumbed a smother and kicked the running banana. So I won't be surprised if we go tall, but it could be Amelia instead of Caitlin Reid as well.
Yeah, because I'm just looking through our list now. There really isn't another forward we're not playing. Like, the people that aren't playing at the moment are either midfielders or defenders, and then there's Giselle Davies. And I would take... She's probably my 4th pick when it comes to a ruck at this point. So I could see Reid coming back. She didn't do anything to lose her spot, really. I don't think. But I think they knew they were coming up against Mimstrom and they wanted someone with experience. And so that's why they went with Lexi last week. And then, I could very easily see her coming back. I would love to see her kick her debut goal. I feel like she's done really close, but not quite been in the right position. So, that's the kind of biggest concern for me coming into this week, is just how our forward line matches up, because that's been a bit of a area of concern. But Alex, I'm going to ask, who are you inviting to the party that you're going to be in attendance for?
You know what? I'm going to go with Julie O'Sullivan's. I think she's had a fantastic start to the season. She's got on the scoreboard against the Gold Coast Suns, kicking her first goal, but the intent that she's brought defensively and getting around the footy, she's not a high possession player, but everything she does has had meaning. So I'm expecting a fair few tackles from her on the weekend, maybe a couple of marks, set up some goals. So Have a look at a stat line last week as I get it up here. She only had the 4 disposals, but laid 3 tackles and got a free kick. So if we can get that up towards the 8 or 9 possessions with 5 or 6 tackles, really strong defensive setup from Julie. Maybe she is shutting down an Ash Centra because I know she's an 18-year-old, but if you shut her down, well, it's going to stop their spark going forward. So, yeah, I'm going to go a defensive masterclass from Julie O'Sullivan.
I like it. I have to say, Joss has been having a pretty, I'm really, really impressed by her. For mine, Alex.
For yours.
Speaking of a forward, I am inviting the person who I think you might have invited last week. You didn't write it in the notes, so I didn't go back and listen and check in. It's Holly Cooper.
Ah, yes.
Our mini. She had another fantastic game. She's doing everything right, but I just want to keep seeing it, basically. I just want to keep seeing her, and I think she's going to have a really big day, and she's going to be that forward that they're not expecting to have a big day going into this game because their defensive line is so good. They're going to man up on all our other forwards, and Holly is going to
She's one I would love to see. She's a 6 disposal player at the moment, kicking 2 goals.
Yeah.
I'd love to see her double that disposal rate. Still kicking the 2 or 3 goals, but getting her hands on the footy more because she's so dangerous and she's really smart when she gets the footy. So, and she absolutely bodied someone too. Dead set yeeted them out of the way on the weekend too for such a small girl. It's amazing the strength she has.
It's so good to see. I don't think any team is ready for that, as any of the defensive lines are ready to come up against that, and then she just absolutely mans you in forward 50 and turns it over and gets a goal or at least a free kick. And so I think that will be a huge part of our game on the weekend. I'm expecting to see big things from her, but I think Swanee's by how far?
23 points, but a comfortable 23 points.
I literally have 22.
I have not got the run sheet up. I'm looking at another part of the run sheet right now, and I have not looked at that. Ah, there we go. Yeah, it is there too. Yeah, I'll go with 23.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's going to be, I don't know, 20. It can't be 22 and a half, but split the difference. But yeah, I agree. It's not going to feel close at any. Well, we're probably going to feel close in the first quarter, let's be honest. But it'll be very comfortable by the end, and we won't be, or I won't be watching, but you won't be stressing. The boys won't be stressing, and all the faithful in the hill won't be stressing, and I won't be stressing watching it on the replay on Sunday.
I'll be doing my chip review, having a great time. So I can't wait. But we do need to get into the tips as well because we need to have a look at that. Let's find this. I've just got this up. I've moved up to 10th, moved up 1 spot. Philip Anton is your leader currently on 28, equal with Greg on the Goldie and Deebs, who dropped a point on the weekend. GT at Henson somehow got 10, must have got the margin right. So he's on 28 as well. So the top 4 all on 28.
Bonus point for getting perfect round. That's
Britty G and Giggs on 27. So that rounds out the top 6, and Mads is still last. I'm going to bring that up every week because it just makes me laugh. Thanks to Brisbane for ruining my week. Let's go through the games. Obviously, Sydney, we are tipping the Swans. That is the first game of the weekend. I like the staggered starts on Saturday. Thank God they're doing that. Icon Park, 2:35. Carlton take on the Gold Coast Suns. Carlton. 3:05, Alberton Oval, Port Adelaide, after a just crumbling last quarter, take on the D's.
I think it's got to be the D's. We haven't really seen them travel yet, but I still think the D's.
Ellerhead's kicked a goal, I think. A long bomb. Bounced over everyone's head on the weekend.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Bella Smith didn't.
Yes. I'm just going to point out that every player that is left is not going great. Martica Oval, GWS take on the Dogs. The Dogs.
Why is this 51 to 49%? Obviously the Dogs.
I'm so done with GWS. There's a good talking point about how they need some draft assistance and cap assistance, but that's for another day.
That's for next week.
Yes, yeah. Windy Hill. That's for after we beat them. I don't want to do it before the game in case they somehow beat us. Yeah. Windy Hill on Sunday. Essendon take on St Kilda. Bombers.
Yeah.
Bonnie Too good back from suspension.
I tipped St Kilda against whoever they played on the weekend, and they let me down again, so I'm off them. I'm not tipping them anymore.
What did St Kilda play? I can't remember. They were bad.
Yeah. Oh, West Coast?
No, West Coast played Port.
Anyway.
It doesn't matter. Icon Park, 105 as well. Richmond take on Geelong. Geelong spanked them. Absolutely spanked them. Yeah. Richmond.
They are back. Richmond are bad.
They are the most disappointing team in the competition by some way. It's disgusting how bad they are. 3:05 Kinetic Stadium. Interesting one. Hawthorn, unbeaten, still haven't kicked more than 5 goals in a game. Take on the Crows, who were absolutely robbed last week.
That's who the Saints played. The Saints played the Hawks.
Oh, up and down. I was up
Up
in
and down.
Cairns.
Cairns, yes. I'm going to go Adelaide.
I'm going to go Hawthorn at
Okay, that's
Kinetic
going to be our opposite
I might
one
drive
for
to
that one.
Frankston to watch this, to be honest. Frankston is so far away.
I know.
For all those at home, Frankston's like an hour from where I live.
I will be hungover watching the replay at this point. So, yeah.
Actually, I might not go because I just realised at the exact same time at Brighton Homes Arena up in Brisbane, the Brisbane Lions
It's 1v2.
take on
grand
North
final
Melbourne
replay.
with Jasmine Garner a test to play this weekend after her ankle looked the size of my head 2 weeks ago. North will
She couldn't have been out for a
kill
few more
them.
weeks. Yeah, there's no way. There's no way Brisbane beat North.
In fairness, I'm 0 for 4 tipping Brisbane this year, so just do not trust me.
But also,
North killed
what
them.
was I going to say? North will kill them. Like, there's no way.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just no way. Like,
Talia Randall
but
is
it
in-
might be nice to bring their percentage down. Maybe.
Nah,
Maybe.
doesn't matter. We're going to finish second home anyway. Yeah, Talia Randall's in seriously hot form at the moment.
Yeah.
I just think their midfield will be too strong. Like Ruby Tripodi rolling through the midfield had 30 last week. It was insane. 5:05, the Derby.
Yes.
Freo take on West Coast, the Daisy Dust. I'm
It's
going
gotta be-
the Eagles to win
So
their
am
first
I.
Derby.
Yeah, so am I. Freo showed me very little on the weekend, so yeah.
The thing about Freo, and we saw it, their best is good. They showed it for 15 minutes. It was Mim Strom and Kiara Bowers doing plenty, and that was it.
But at the moment, West Coast just have this freak
They're fit.
ability
They are fit.
to close out games. They did 2 weeks in a row. Everyone thought they counted them out, and then they did it twice. And so I'm kind of glad we don't have to play. Oh no, we do play them. Never mind.
Yeah, later in the year, it's fine, but it's all right. Like Montana Ham versus Ella Roberts. Yes, sign me up, please. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, West
But-
Coast, go Daisy.
I mean, I would love to see a Daisy final. I mean, I think everyone would love to see a Daisy get into the final.
Just not against us. Go play Hawthorn.
They play
or
us
someone.
in like round 8, so it'd be very, very annoying if we have to then play them again in or whatever it is, like round 10. It's like the second last week or something. So it'd be very annoying to then come up against them in finals immediately. It'd be like Adelaide and Collingwood in the
Yes.
men's.
Oh.
But that pretty much wraps us up for this week. Big shout out to Scotty. Thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. And thank you so much to Della and the team
Yes.
for giving us access. We are so very grateful that you could jump on and, speak to the faithful. It's fantastic. This is the last week to use the promo code TrueBloods10 for Matchday Money. So if you want to get your nails, they are fantastic. I can't recommend them more highly. Jump on now before we miss out and pay full price. I mean, they're worth full price anyway, but you may as well use the code while you've got the code. I still think there are a couple of Chloe shirts, which I am wearing this week. And Alex,
Shout out to Jade Ellinger.
Yeah, Jade Ellinger keeps wearing it, which is such a weird, cool thing to have happened. But absolutely love them as a couple, so it's very fun. I think there's a couple sizes still available, so have a look if you want one. But this has been True Bloods, the #1 independent Sydney Swans fan podcast. We're #1 in the hearts. We're #1 on the charts. We're speaking words of wisdom.
Up
The potty.
potty.